Hi, ni hao, and apa kabar? Welcome to Anything, your go-to space where we talk about all things campus, from majors like student life to everything in between. Anything is a podcast proudly brought to you by the School of Communications of Xiamen University, Malaysia, where you can literally ask us anything. I'm your host, Kai, and I'm more than excited to have everyone here with us to kickstart our very first episode, which is going to be about the programs under the umbrella of the School of Communication. Now, we know that choosing a program or understanding what your program actually offers can be really overwhelming, especially when you are new to the campus or especially when you are new to the communication sector. But take a deep breath because we got your backs. Today, we are here to break things down and give you a clearer picture of all the programs that School of Communication offers. And on this journey of navigating, we have invited some special guests. So first up, we have the Dean of School of Communication, who is Professor Wang Chang Song. So today, Professor Wang will be in charge of talking about the journalism course. Professor Wang, I actually believe that majority of the SLC students already know who you are. But for the students who are new here, do you want to share some fun facts about yourself for them to know you more?
Definitely, I'm the Dean of the School of Communication, and of course I've been here for almost 9 years since the establishment of Xiamen University, and definitely I witnessed the growth of all the programs, and most importantly I'm involved with the development of many programs, including advertising program, communication program, and also all postgraduate programs. And certainly I welcome the very first batch of the students from mainland China, and through which I established very long friendship with them. Until now, I think many of them still communicating with me about their career, about their growth, and many factors that I'm enjoying interacting with my students. And of course, I also enjoy interacting with the freshmen. So every semester, I welcome all new students, and from them, I can feel the energies of the anticipation for the future. I think this is really important for me to knowing about their anticipations of knowing the future, and I think this is what I'm supplying for them.
Okay, so you're like the dad of School of Communication.
Unfortunately, I'm not a dad of any kid, so I hope I'm not so old enough. Of course, I have gray hairs and wrinkles, but of course, I like this title, of course.
So now we are also joined with Assistant Professor Dr. Kwok Wai Jing, also known to some students as Dr. Joyce. Yeah, who is the head of program for advertising. Dr. Joyce, could you also please share something interesting about yourself?
Okay, hello everyone, my name is Dr. Joyce. I'm the head of program for advertising in Xiamen University, Malaysia. And of course, I've been teaching here since 2018, about 7 years now. So throughout the entire teaching experience in this university, it gives me a great pleasure that I really enjoy all the students, engagement, and also the interactivities, having fun and also learning, together with them as part of life journeys that we can always look forward to. So I wish that in near future there will be more new joiners, and we will see what are the excitement of the activities that we can conduct in class and also in the learning journey.
Okay. And last but certainly not least, we have Assistant Professor Dr. Norzita Yunus, who everyone calls her Dr. Norzita, who is also the head of program for our communications program. So Dr. Norzita, could you also please share something fun about yourself?
Right, not really that fun. Anyway, I'm Zita. I've been in the industry, talking about the industry in an education line itself for 25 years now. I've been here at Xiamen University for 2 years. I came in with the first batch of the communication students, the first intake. So I'm 2 years old basically now, still very young at Xiamen University. But I'm honored to be here. I've met beautiful people here, my colleagues, my boss, and my students, As much as students think that they learn a lot from the lecturers, I'm learning a lot from the young people as well, And I enjoy every bit of the experience here. I look forward to having more communication students joining us.
Can our special guest briefly introduce us to these courses? So now let's start with Dr. Wang first, perhaps.
All right, so I know all the programs precisely because starting from journalism program in 2016, we welcomed the very first batch of journalism students in February. At that time, we only have below 10 students. With the time goes, the program developed. I think we established advertising program in 2018. Yeah. So that was the very first time we welcome advertising program students. In 2022. I think it's 2022. We established communication program, and these three programs make School of Communication become possible. And of course, each of the program definitely offered opportunities to different young students. So for example, if students who are very keen to become future media practitioners, they probably may opt to journalism, especially those who have a passion on writing, producing content.
Next, Dr. Joyce, could you please briefly introduce the advertising course to us?
Of course, advertising course is a vibrant kind of program that you have in so-called School of Communication, where in the first year, usually students will be introduced to the introductory classes to understand about some basic theories about advertising. And in year 2, we are more training the students to be more engaged and have a lot more so-called hands-on practice or more work into projects and also campaigns, and that's where the students are able to relate those things that they have learned probably on the first year to the second year and even more. And to the final year, students will usually have to work into a more like a final year project showcase, and same goes to doing research about their media research project. And this is how the learning journey is able to train them, not just only understanding about what theory can teach them, but on the practical aspect, they know how to relate and put it into the picture or into the real world in the near future for them to utilize all this knowledge. And I think in advertising program, it is a very vibrant chances for students to have multiple skills that they can gain during the learning process. Like for instance, they need to know how to be more engaged or even more active to speak up, and also have a lot more chances to organize some events for them to make this so-called advertisement opportunity to be related into the industry even more. That's how advertising program started with it, and we hope to see students become more engaging in that sense, for them to learn how to deal with situations and also making this advertisement become more valuable into the industries.
That sounds like a really, really dynamic field.
Yeah.
Advertising does provide students with numerous connections with industries, with the different brands, different corporates, and throughout all these past few years, I have so many MOA and MOU have been signed between different corporates, and also students are engaged with clients by knowing what clients want and how to make this product speak in the way that consumer understand, or maybe let the product to not really reach the target audience, but also we identify issues for the company itself. So that will be actually the reason why advertising is actually a kind of, I say, it's like a doctor. You're examining the corporates, the brands, and you're providing solutions to address the issues. It's not about only knowing the hands-on, and theoretical components also help them to supply the solutions accordingly.
Now, communication is the youngest program. The first intake was in September 2023, right, when we met that semester. Now, but the number is increasing, it's promising, each intake has grown to a significant number of students, and I think with that comes the responsibility, because there seems to be a form of trust already from the students, parents, our stakeholders, but anyway, looking at the program itself, it is designed to be a wholesome program that prepares the students upon graduation. Not only they have the skills when they graduate, but also the set of skills that can help them thrive even years after graduation. Because not everything that you learn in class, there are things that you don't learn in class, but you've got to do outside. You may not learn the exact set set of skills, but then the other set of skills, example, sense of adaptability, for example. Yeah, when I was young, when I was trained in communication, we didn't have much exposure to communication technology, for example. Yeah? But nowadays, in order to survive the field, then we have to always keep on updating, keep on learning, and that is I think one thing that is important. Yeah, sometimes students go and say, how come we don't, when we graduate, we don't really, some of the skills don't seem to be very much useful anymore, for example, because we understand the nature of the world is very volatile with technology and all that. So preparing the students not only with a set of skills upon graduation, but also the set of skills that help them to thrive years after graduation. So when I mentioned that, I think the program is unique in a number of ways. Yeah. So in the first year, students will go into the theoretical aspects of things. Yeah. I mean, we have to understand theories, as boring as it may sound, but that is the basis of understanding how things work and how we should move about. We have an informed kind of decisions based on certain theories or framework. Yeah. Always tell the students, for example, when you don't have a theory, example, a simple recipe to bake something, you just throw in, ingredients and whatnot. Perhaps the first time it fails, perhaps, unless you get lucky. And then you have to try again. Sometimes it takes 3-4 times of trying out the recipes. You've spent money, you've spent time, you spent effort and whatnot, and sometimes people just give up in the process. Why? Because you don't have the recipe. You just, you're just giving it a try again and again. But when you have the recipe or the theory behind it, the exact example, weight of ingredients, what you should do and what not, that will save a lot of time, because it has been tested. That's the form of, we're looking at how theory helps in a way. Whether or not it's relevant, it's useful across time, that is something else. But at least we have some form of guidance, or guidelines in making decisions and whatnot. So the first year we do have an amount of theoretical understanding of things, but of course we do have, the first year theoretical understanding and a bit of practice, but then second year, then you will have a bit more of hands-on experience, plus a little bit of theoretical perspective of things, and our students, similar to what Prof. Dean has mentioned just now, our students also being, even though it's new, but then we allow students, we encourage, and we have been practicing it in the sense that students have exposure to the industry. So they have real client already, starting from the second year. Okay, now they're in the third year. Okay, they also have real clients. So things theoretically, what you should do, PR campaigns, whatever. But then having a real client to execute your work, that is something else. So they have it even during the study program itself. I think that's a very important exposure. I think for all the programs, the school has it, in such a way. So the involvement of the industry together with a theoretical way of understanding things. And in the third year, students will have mainly the practical aspect of things. They have project paper, for example, and then they have internship.
After hearing the sharing from our special guest, I think that there's a reason why these three programs are under the category of communications. To me, they are quite similar and quite distinct at the same time. So if I put my shoes into someone who is still looking for a program to enroll he or herself in, I would have a question like, how can I make sure that these distinct courses can be the perfect shoe to match me? Is there any tips and tricks on teaching people who are not familiar with this circle or this area to choose which suits them better?
So some of the students, let's say they are very passionate on, let's say I heard about students, I like drawing and I like doing a lot of photography and also videograph, and I don't know what I'm supposed to choose because all the three programs provide all these skills. But also I may ask them some questions, okay, are you really interested to become someone who tell the whole world what is really going on in the region, in your country? If it is happening, let's say the current wars we heard about, what's your opinion about it? Do you have your ideas been constructed that you wish to address? Perhaps you may fit to journalism because you have this kind of eyes and perspective to gel all the information together into something that you want to speak about. If someone who are very passionate on making your creative work to be very much more commercialized, and you are able to make yourself become a brand. And I think many of the students even opt to making themselves as a brand. So many of them opt to, let's say, become advertising. Yeah. Some of students may say that I have both interests. I have no idea how to choose. I may not simply say communication in between, but I may say that if a student who have this strong interest in media and also corporates, I think communication fits well. Because you may potentially serve your potential clients which are specific in industry sector, regardless whichever industry you are interested. But you have this passion on serving different sectors by connecting different resources and speaking the languages, representing someone, such as maybe, let's say, when certain airlines encounter the crisis, you want to help. But you have this kind of a sense, maybe this is a communication program misapplied to you.
How about Dr. Joyce and Dr. Zita? Do you guys have anything to add on?
If I may add one more thing, I always get these questions. Potential students will ask questions like, but we don't know how to communicate. I'm a shy person. I'm an introvert. Can I go into communication? Then I always tell them, if you think you are already really very good, then why would you enroll into a bachelor's program? It's because there are things about yourself that you wish to improve.
Yes, exactly.
And that's how the program will be preparing you for that. That preparation comes in the different courses that you will take, the different types of assignments, exposure and whatnot. So if you are questioning yourself, do I belong there because I'm a shy person, I can tell you that is, that is never an issue. 25 years of my experience, I've received so many types of students with different personality types, character. I have had very shy students, but I think that proud moment for lecturers, for example, when they do the final presentation, the research project, whatever not, and you recall them in the first semester, the first presentation that they did, wow, they're different people. But the thing is that students normally do not realize how they grow. They don't see that, but we lecturers, we see that in the first semester, first year, and then second year. Well, of course, the growth differs from one person to another. Some people, they grow faster in that sense in terms of their sets of skills. Some would take more time, but at the end of the day, they will be there because the program is designed to meet the different requirements, upon graduation. So shy or not, please come and join us. You'll be surprised of your ability.
I'm actually a year 2 journalism student in School of Communications of XMUM, and in my experience, all the lecturers I've met, I think they are really, really sincere and they really want the best for the students. And from the perspective of a lecturer, what are the 3 mindsets or skills you would really want students to master throughout their university years?
Can we have Dr. Joyce first?
Dr. Joyce, yeah.
Mindset.
Yeah, mindset or skills.
Okay. Perhaps I would say 3 things. First, be open mind. Okay, willing to accept any challenge, and of course learn to be creative, and at the same time willing to accept critics. These are the skills that I would say at least the advertising students must have. First of all, it really depends on what probably you are dealing in your life, because not everyone probably living same way just like everyone else. So probably you're facing some difficulties. You need to know how to deal with it. So think critically is of course one way of solving some problems. But at the same time, if you know there is something that probably you're not doing well, learn to accept that as a fact that you're willing to make changes. And that's how you need to think a bit more out of the box in a way that's saying creatively, so that you can make things change according to what you wish to believe. That's why I think these 3 skill sets is important.
So can I say that, like, what sets apart students who really struggle and students who really succeed is their mindset?
Yes, it's all about their mindset, because no one can force you what you wanted to do. If you have a more open mindset for yourself to say, I'm willing to learn things, I'm willing to solve the problems, and I don't mind that what people told me about, but I know what am I doing. You feel for yourself. That's your life. So that's why this skill set is important. Yeah, that's what I think.
Thank you, Dr. Joyce. How about Prof. Wang?
Oh, okay, my turn.
Yeah, your turn.
I may use another way to give advice or maybe suggestion by using not, because sometimes I remember a lot of sharing that do not think about, let's say, a cake. Even though it said do not think, but your mind still think. Okay, so what I want to suggest, number one, is actually do not limit yourself in the program that you sign up. Meaning that you have to go out and explore. For example, you study journalism, and the program itself doesn't maybe teach you about, let's say, something about the war, about conflict, or about maybe business, or about sports. So if you are interested to become, let's say, a journalist, you want to emphasize on the position that you want to demonstrate in the future. Perhaps you want to become, let's say, a business expert, a journalist, but you have to explore more about business. So if you want to become someone who, let's say, do a copywriter for advertising agency, come on, you may not be only considering yourself as a copywriter. You probably have the vision for the entire company, how to construct identity system, how to make this kind of entire campaign for the company's branding purpose. So that will be the reason you have to think out of it. So I think if you constrain yourself very much, you limit your chances when you step out from the university. That will be the reason why I said do not limit yourself within the program that you sign up. And secondly, I also wish to say that do not be too concentrating on your own self. Because I think you're looking at a lot of things from our own perspective, but you probably may neglect the other perspective that allow you to ignite some of ideas. So that will be the reason why sometimes we can depart ideas from our own, but in the meanwhile you may explore more different kind of perspective. And by having this kind of conversation, for example, you are opening another chance to speak to lecturers rather than an official classroom setting or office setting. So I think this is another chance for you to have another perspective that ignite your future and something that you're interested, passionate about. And last thing is, do not forget about your own belongings, where you're coming from, where you're originally coming from. For example, we have a lot of international students. Xiamen University become so international nowadays, and we have these chances to look at different culture and different kind of a lifestyle and different kind of a religions, and we are very kind of internationalized campus. So that will be the reason why this may be another chance for you to explore more and understand more.
So to conclude, it's like your own limit is actually yourself.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Wang. How about Dr. Zita?
Right, particularly for communication students, I wish these three sets of skills. One is, of course, communication skills. They graduate with a degree in communication, so they have to attest to the set of skills that they have. And when you have strong communication skills, you can land on almost any career, because communication skills is not just talking. Communication skill involves listening, leading, motivating, understanding, a lot of things, and that is required of any individual in this world. You have a strong hold of that, those human communication skills in general. I think you can excel in almost anywhere, in any field that you are in. And number two, I'm a strong proponent for adaptability. And that's really very important. The world, is very volatile. We've got to be agile. We don't like the way things are, then we will perish. That's it. We have to go with changes. Sometimes, we hear people say, things used to be better in those days. Okay, but we have to move forward. Doesn't matter how much we don't like, certain new development or whatever, we have to keep reading about it and learn how we can adapt accordingly. That's today's nature. So if we are not adaptable enough, very soon we're not going to be relevant anymore, whatever the industry is, whatever that career is. And number three, problem solving. That comes with adaptability, because challenges are really very strong these days. if we look at the media themselves, you know, on daily basis, we see misinformation, we see fake news, we see a lot of ethical issues going on, yeah. And when you have to make decisions, yeah, we have to make decisions when we work, yeah. Whether it's big, small, you know, decisions, but we have to make decisions, and decisions have got to be well informed, yeah. That is part of problem solving. So when we want to make decisions, we have to be informed, yeah. We have to be knowledgeable enough to make research, yeah, and we have to be skillful, knowledgeable enough for us to think of solutions, yeah, because that's the nature of today's world, yeah. So in short, to me, communication skills, you know, adaptability, yeah, and problem solving skills. And then those are pertinent for any individual, actually, yeah, for anyone on any path, career path, yeah. This we should possess at least these 3 sets of skills. Yeah.
So it's like, if you do not want to be left out by time, you need to change with the time, right?
Exactly. That's the reality.
Thank you, Miss. So now this brings me back to my first year of studying here. Like, as a first year student, I actually had a lot of queries, but I do not know who I should reach out to. So if our special guests were given a chance to give one advice to every student who just stepped their foot into School of Communication, what would that advice be?
Now, the nature of those who have just started in a new environment, you know, it is curiosity. I mean, there's a communication theory, uncertainty reduction theory that talks about that. A lot of uncertainty. You get nervous. You remember the first day on campus, you get nervous, you know, and looking around what I should do, who I should connect to, how should I behave, and things like that. Yeah. So a lot of need in terms of getting information. The way to reduce uncertainty, yeah, is definitely by getting information. All right. So I think in the first year, because you need to start on the right foot, you know, a journey that starts, you know, a journey that has a good start, you know, has a long way to go, right? So to me, the first thing that you should do is look for the right sources. Yeah? When you have questions, when you have uncertainty, go to the right source.
John Coffee Talk.
Yeah, Coffee Talk, for example, yeah? I think that helps a lot, you know, because you have a lot of questions, uncertainty. For some students coming from different cultural backgrounds, okay, it is not just dealing with information, it's dealing with the lifestyle, different food, you know, people look different, people sound different, you know, from my original culture. That alone is a struggle, yeah. And then you have questions how things are done. There are students who come fresh from school, they have never experienced university life, you know, doing assignments at schools, yeah, not the same exactly with how you do assignments at the university. So if I can give an advice, yeah, in reducing the uncertainty, in getting information, yeah, always go to the right source. Yeah, that's the best. Because when you go to the wrong sources, you know, sometimes you don't get the right advice or inputs, yeah, that will, in a negative way, yeah, impact you are already with much enthusiasm on campus. Then you hear funny things, for example, yeah, when they may not be true. Yeah, so I think with a lot of uncertainty in the first semester, always go to the right source. Ask questions. Yeah, I think the school is you know, proactive. You know, under the advice of Prof Dean, yeah, Prof Wang, because we have this coffee talk session yeah, for new students, and then we have the lectures there. And I still remember when Prof was explaining to me the idea of coffee talk is for the lecturers to sit down, you know, the same eye level with students. Yeah. Because normally in lecture we'll be standing there, That's like the, you know, that difference kind of thing. But then during coffee talk we sit at the same table,
and closer,
level, like closer, coffee, you know, snacks, whatever not. Yeah, and that is the time that students can ask questions. I think that idea is really in line with my thought of how important the right sources are for new students.
Okay, personally, I do have my own life philosophy. My philosophy is very simple: never stop learning. Things that probably you see, you do, you face in life, you got to learn. Maybe it ended up with something negative or positive, it doesn't matter. At least you got that exposure. And if you're willing to make the changes, probably it will be something good in return. Yeah. So I always tell the students, I say, you know, never be afraid to make mistakes, especially when you don't know or uncertain about things. Ask questions, never be afraid to make mistakes from there, and then you learn something that is valuable for yourself. And if you are willing to move on by learning more things to improve it, that's where the good things will return to you eventually.
Surprises.
Yeah.
How about for people who are going to leave this environment and stepping into the workforce? Do you guys have any takeaways that you hope that they can take with them into the workforce?
Sort of just now talk about this so-called life experience. I also been through the stages where I also have the internship or industrial training experience. I also get to know that it's not easy for them to adapt themselves after what they study. They have to relate it into the real world. That's why students got to open their heart, to accept things that they will be facing. So one piece of advice: never stop learning from there, and this is how things will grow and train yourself to become a better person. That is one piece of advice that I can give.
Never stop learning.
Yes.
Maybe I take the second one. Many people say to me that, Prof. Wang, how you manage so many things in a day as a dean or as an individual is also a question pondered by many of my friends. I think one matters inspired me to do so, which is planning. I may also share one of the Chinese philosophy, which is all about 一屋不扫，何以扫天下? Literal translation is, if you don't know how to clean a house, how you manage the whole world. So that gives me a reflection that I need to plan. Even though it's a cleaning, how to clean the house. Okay, may start with what, and what will be the final one. So then you will know the planning and also the function of planning and benefits of planning. University provides you with a 3 years or 4 years education. You need to plan from year 1 to year 3, following the study plan or structure that university provides to you. But it doesn't mean that's the only plan. No, your planning go beyond the structure, go beyond the study plan, even though it carries the same term, plan. But you have to plan something. Let's say you're trying to explore more about the KOL, because many young generation are very fascinating about KOL, their following social media account. Do you want to make something for your own self? Or how will you contribute to this, let's say, KOL industry? Or will you see yourself may have chance to become a KOL? Or you disagree with this KOL positions, why you do so? So it's all about, okay, if you don't agree with this, what else you wanted to do? So planning is very significant. When you have this plan from year 1, year 2, year 3 for yourself, you also need to do a major for yourself. I remember when I established School of Communication in 2023, so I asked all freshmen to do a time capsule letter. So I think that's also reflect my vision for my students, that you make your plan. And ultimately, when you graduate from this university, when I return the time capsule letter, you are the one to respond to yourself. Are all the plans achieved and accomplished in 3 years? That's what I'm trying to transfer to my students. Planning is very important.
I remember writing the time capsule.
Yeah.
How about Dr. Zita?
Right. 2 words, I think, upon graduation. Yeah. Keep an open mind. Yeah, and be adaptable. Keeping an open mind is important because things may not be the same the way we imagine them to be. Expectations are not exactly the way they are. We've heard of graduates who cannot secure employment, for example. Yeah. So the 3 years that you have spent in the university has prepared you for a lot of things. So don't you have acquired the right set of skills, communication skills. Yeah. Knowledge and whatnot, yeah. So don't confine yourself to just, I must land a job in this specific company in this area only. Yeah. Be open in the sense that with the set of skills that you have, there are a lot of ventures that you can go into. So keep an open mind, create opportunities sometimes. Yeah, that also works instead of waiting for opportunities to come and land on our lap, for example. Yeah. So when you graduate, you have a lot of advantages. Actually, you have learned a lot. Yeah. So keep an open mind. Number one, we cannot have expectations that things will definitely turn out the way we want it to be. You graduate, I'm going to have a beautiful job, I'm going to land a job here, this is the salary that I'm going to get, yeah. So sometimes they don't work like that, yeah. But when you keep an open mind, you know, you are open to a lot of different opportunities, and you can grow from whichever field that you are in, yeah. And an open mind is also important. For example, you work in an environment that you never worked before. So the way, you know, things are done, people are different, you know. So when you keep an open mind, you can survive, you can thrive in different environments, you know, because that's the global environment that we work in these days. If we have a closed mind that things have got to be done my way, for example, I don't like the way my colleagues are doing things, you know, my superior is doing things, for example, these and that, you know, what happens is that we're not going to survive anywhere. You know? So I think that's important, and that is linked closely to adaptability. You know? So we have to be adaptable, but anchoring back to what Prof. Wang has mentioned, do not lose your identity. We are adaptable in whichever environment we are, but we don't lose our core self, our principles, our identity. That has got to be strong inside that. But the way we work, yeah, that has got to be adaptable. Yeah, so I think an open mind and adaptability, you know, are very important when we graduate. We cannot have the mindset of the world is going to give me what I want, come. Yeah, I think, yeah. So a lot of times it does not happen. Yeah. But then, you know, that's when we keep an open mind, explore opportunities. You know, a lot of times we are not even aware of our own potential. Yeah, so yeah, that I think those are the two things which are very important for graduates.
Is there any tips and tricks for them to really change themselves from someone who they do not really like into someone who are able to adapt to all these kind of advices?
Maybe you can put into some of the examples. For example, you try to say how to be open, but most of the time we say be open-minded. At the same time, even the word open doesn't allow you to open sometimes. So take some of the advice. Let's say when you do a peer work, you are paired with the students. You gotta have maybe a pitch session. So from this kind of opportunity that university provide to you is a training for you to be open. When you're attending a session where everyone present, it's a chance for you to think, okay, even though everyone have the same topic, why these students think in this perspective and that students in that particular perspective. That's a chance for you to think what it represents openness. So if you're able to accept some of them or all of them, that represent a gesture of openness. But if some of the students, they say they just do the presentation, never mind, I finished mine, I just sit there, play my phone, you shut your door up. That's a typical example of open and also close.
But to me, I more like have a very interesting combination of a formula that I think I can make it make sense. Like, you know, think about how to be more open in a sense. Like, say for instance, you don't know who you are, you don't know what you wanted to do. First, ask your questions. What do you want in life? Okay, ask yourself these questions. Then, if you know who you are, you know yourself better. Speak up. Express it up and say. And if you are saying not that good, be confident to sell yourself. So once you have that selling point that you know your uniqueness, people recognize who you are, and that's how you will be more confident to speak or even to know about what you wanted to do or in life. So that's how this so-called tree, more like a little recipes. First know about yourself, then speak up, and then sell yourself. Then this three combined together, you will probably have an advice to know that you are willing to take this opportunity to do something to prove who you are to the world.
So to wrap this segment up, can you guys give me another fun fact about the majors, your respective majors that people would probably do not know?
One thing about the program, it is made up of multicultural class members. So the thing is that when you have multicultural class members, I mean, we have students coming from different parts of the world, this kind of exposure is expensive. Studies have shown that if you are exposed to people coming from different cultural background and you are able to cope with them, you do assignments with them, you stay in the same room with them and all that, you know, you can develop this emotional intelligence, which is intercultural sensitivity. Intercultural sensitivity is expensive. You know, not everybody has it. You know, you have to experience that, and that experience comes from the mingling, you know, the interactions that you have, and that is something extra that we have in the communication. I think all the programs under School of Communication. So when you pay the fees, you don't really get the education, but you also have that extra thing that you probably can have if you go and study abroad. You know, for Malaysians, for example, you're studying in Malaysia, you go back over the weekend sometimes, but you have that international exposure. And you may not realize, but that will have a lot of impact. So if you're able to manage the differences, cultural differences, you are developing that sense of, you know, intercultural sensitivity, a type of emotional intelligence, then, you know, you'll survive and thrive in any environment. And that includes the workplace environment. Who knows, you're going to work at multinational companies. Yeah, you need that level of intercultural sensitivity. So that's what I can think of at this moment, and I think that comes expensive. Yeah.
Thank you. Next.
Dr. Joyce?
Advertising. Advertising always have surprise. That's what I say. You know, because if you see any advertisements out there, some makes you laugh, some makes you cry, some makes you feel sentimental. You know, there's always surprise everywhere when you see any advertisements. But if you say something unique about, you know, advertising, stay creative and be alert of, you know, what things happen around you. Yeah, that would be something I would say is valuable that we can see or even appreciate in the field of advertising. So you never know what will happen the next second, or probably later, or in just a while. But, you know, as far as you are ready, and that's how the surprise comes to you. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Joyce.
I try to wrap up from two perspectives. Number one, from journalism point of view, and also as the Dean of the School of Communication. Journalism program does train great graduates. I'm so proud of, because we produce a lot of graduates who are now even doing PhD studies, master degree studies. Many of them actually doing fantastic job academically, but I also noticed that many of them opt to industry work, but not many of them so far. So I think this also is another area for us to think about, whether journalism provide a chance for you to work in the industry, whether you have your confidence to work in the industry upon graduation, because I think this is an environment where you grow, and of course you have to be responsible for the environment you're coming from. And when you try to define yourself for the future work, construct yourself as a brand, even though this is about journalism, but it's also about your identity. When I initiate this kind of a so-called podcast series, I also offer you a chance to define your identity. Let's say you are now become the host. Can you produce more content with very interesting interactions with a guest or with the audience in front of the camera? So this is a way for you to define your identity with the way that university provides to you. As a Dean of a School of Communication, I think we provide multiple chances, but students may choose neglect chances. For example, this space that we're using here is called a Mango Space. It is actually an industry partnership with Mango Media. And also we have international conference taking place annually, and we open the floor to students to participate, to be ignite, to be intelligent, to be trying to be intelligent in terms of research and etc. We do offer multiple chances. I think university provide you a sense of a word of called it system, and a system of knowledge, a system to look at the surroundings, and a system to make decisions. So from this perspective, you're able to make yourself as a fine citizen. And without this kind of a system, you're unable to achieve the goal. Without the system, you're unable to visualize yourself. I think this is the reason why, take some keywords. Today I try to use a lot of simple keywords. That is a way for you to take away. I think this is education about.
Once again, a huge thank you to Professor Wang, Dr. Joyce, and Dr. Norzita for being with us today and sharing your wisdoms, your stories, and even tips to our audiences and everyone here. We hope that this episode gives you a deeper look or a clearer look of all the programs the School of Communication offers, as well as maybe even help you navigate the right path for yourself. To all the audience who stayed this long, if you have a topic or you have a question which you wish to see us discuss, don't forget to drop us a comment on our Instagram highlights at SOCST_XMUM. We'd love to hear from you, and who knows, maybe your topic or your question will be featured in our next podcast video. Anything you can think. See you soon. Bye bye.